I'd like to welcome you all to the regular City Council meeting on Tuesday, September 16th, 2014. We apologize for being tardy. We've had numerous meetings today, so we appreciate you sticking with us as we run late. We're going to go ahead and start by having Jim Johnson from the First Baptist Church give us our invocation. Thank you for standing in at such short notice, Jim. I appreciate that. If you'd all rise, and then afterwards I'll lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Jim? Amen. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you again, Jim. At this time, we'll move to the roll call, please.
Here.
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 Here. Great, thank you very much. At this time, we have no proclamations, acknowledgments, awards. That'll take us to the next item. This is a report from the mayor. I just wanted to give the council a brief update. Had the opportunity to... Uh-oh, great. Bravo. Could you move it over a little bit? It's inhibiting the camera. That's what I thought. This is why you're not allowed to talk.
I just want you guys to know that I told the mayor that he can't leave this seat until the city beats the alumni team. So the good news that I bring you tonight is we're going to have one outstanding mayor for many years to come.
I'm definitely getting NFL players next year. That's right. Thank you, Vice Mayor Farrell. Appreciate that. All in a little fun. We had a great time at the homecoming week last week. I know many of you were able to participate, and we thank you very much for that. We always look forward to that annual game, and it's a lot of fun. So we're very appreciative for everybody who participated. Also, the CABC meeting is an opportunity in which I had to attend. We recently joined the Canada-Arizona Business Council as an economic development forum, and it's something I think that will pay big dividends in the long run. It's an opportunity for us to network and meet with what is actually the number one foreign direct investment in the state of Arizona is Canada. And most people don't know that. They think that our biggest trade partner is with Mexico, and indeed it is a large one, but the number one foreign direct investment person in Tucson is Canada, and the number two is Canada in the Phoenix metro area, number one actually being England. And so it's something that we oftentimes overlook, and of course we want to continue to better our relationships with Mexico. We think we can do that through our relationships in this membership, in this council, but I think it's an opportunity in which it allows and affords us to meet with CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, and Mike and I attended that meeting this last Friday. It was great to meet with a variety of different people, so hopefully that will pay dividends in the long run as far as bringing jobs and companies to the Maricopa area, as we're one of the very few, if not almost only, city that has a role to play in this council. So we really are very limited, and it gives us great access. So hopefully that will continue on. Also, many of us had the opportunity to attend the gubernatorial debate. Without being political here, it was a great opportunity for Councilmember Farrell, Brown, myself, and Franks to get to see and meet a variety of the different candidates. Obviously, the Republican candidate and the Democratic candidate, just raising the awareness of Maricopa to both those candidates. I know that each of us, in a variety of different respects, has the opportunity to meet with these candidates as we move forward, and anything we can do to bring and raise awareness of the city of Maricopa to them and our needs. I think anytime we can continue to meet with them, it brings good notoriety to us over time. I also wanted to let you know that we had the opportunity to play quickball this past week. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. I had never heard of it. We actually have an inventor of the sport that lives in the city of Maricopa. And he contacted us and asked if we would set up a time at Copper Sky. So many thanks to our recreation department and to Christy Reister, who helped reserve some time at Copper Sky. We all went out there and played. It's a terribly exhilarating game. It's a lot of fun, and hopefully we'll maybe even be adding that to our lineup of offerings as we move forward. But it's really neat to see a game that was invented by a gentleman who lives here in the city of Maricopa. So we had a good time playing that. Also, and finally, a bit of a sad note. Some of you know this already, as social media moves much faster than do other things, but we did receive just a little card here from the spouse of former P&Z member Dale Jones. Just for those of you that don't know, Dale Jones was one of our commissioners on P&Z. He was also the first chair of the City of Maricopa's Board of Adjustments, and he recently passed away. He was also, if I remember correct, Culver City, California. He was the city manager there for some 30 to 40 years. You don't see that much anymore either. So what a wonderful man he was to have here in the city of Maricopa, and to have worked with him and to have participated with him in many different fashions was truly a unique experience, and we learned a lot, and we'll miss him. So just wanted to let you know that we received that card, Council, and I'll pass it along to you. So with that, I just wanted to finally say, last thing on the mayor's report is that obviously, you know, we are preparing for rain and potential flooding. We have been working very closely with the city manager, as well as police and fire, development services, public works, you name it, as well as extending our reach beyond the city of Maricopa. We may or may not receive the rain we've received in the past, a few weeks, but the worry is the Santa Cruz runs from south to north, and so as that rain potentially falls in the area of Tucson and southern Pinal County, we really could receive the brunt of that. Now, we feel that we are very prepared as we can be, and so we just wanted to let you know that we're working very closely to monitor the situation. If you have Nixle, N-I-X-L-E, that's wonderful. You'll continue to get updates. If you do not, we encourage you to go to the city's website and apply for the Nixle text alerts on your phone. It's a wonderful opportunity to be made aware of things that are happening in real time, and so I hope that you'll participate in that so that you can keep up to date on what is taking place in the city of Maricopa as emergency situations apply. So with that, I'll turn the time over to the city manager for his report.
Honorable Mayor, only one proposed change to the agenda tonight, which we're asking that you table agenda item number 10.7. We've identified some potential changes to Edison Road that may have an impact on that project.
Table 10.7.
Those are on all of the proposed changes.
Okay, but we will still have we'll still have 10.6 as far as the presentation goes?
That is
prior
correct,
to
Your
that?
Honor.
Okay. All right, so when we get to 10.7, we'll motion to table it. All right. Great. Anything else at this time, City Manager Rose?
No additional items, Your Honor.
Thank you. That takes us to the call to the public. We have several speaker cards. At this time, we'll go in the order of the speaker cards, after which the general public will be invited to come forward. The first speaker card I have is for Norma Wyatt. Norma, if you'd come up and tell us about the Veterans Town Hall.
Hello, my name is Norma Wyatt with American Legion Auxiliary here in Maricopa. We have the Veterans Town Hall coming up September 25th here at City Hall, 6 to 8 p.m. And this year we've expanded it more to not only the veterans but their families. We have the VA coming out and representatives from different departments. They're going to have their computer set up, and veterans will be able to come in and register with the VA. So they could bring their DD Form 214 and an ID. They don't have to drive to Tucson and Phoenix, and that's a lot of the reason why they don't go. They don't want to mess with the VA for one, and then they don't want to drive. So it's great that they're going to be here and able to register. There's lots of changes with the VA, good ones. So they'll be able to explain that to the veterans also. And then we're also going to focus on the family. Like I said, there's going to be legal support, counseling support, early childhood. There's a preschool here in Maricopa that one of the top priorities is our military families. So they'll be able to apply with them. And also we found one of our Maricopa residents who works for HUD, and they have a program for veterans to help get them into housing. It's kind of a lengthy process, but the exciting thing is that we have someone here, and she's going to be coming and helping them out. There's also going to be another realtor out there also to help for veterans, and it's going to be Wade. He's here somewhere. So it's awesome. He's got something set up for veterans also. There's going to be food opportunities to speak with the food bank where veterans can, there's OHOP. They deal with clothing. Helping, hiring, and honoring our heroes is who they are. And there's also going to be job opportunities, job skills, everything. Anything you can think of that families need will be there this year. So it's exciting, and it's going to be great. So if you can please pass the word along and get as many veterans as you can out there, because it's not only that some of them, they have too much pride, but they don't know where to go. They don't know that there's opportunities here. They don't know there's resources and tools, and there are a lot. So exciting, and we can't wait until next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Norma. Appreciate it. The next speaker card I have at this time is Ann Norby. And Ann, you're going to talk about Relay for Life 2015.
Hi, Honorable Mayor, Council members, Mr. Rose, City staff, and meeting attendees. My name is Ann Norby, and I'm one of the chairs for the Maricopa Relay for Life 2015, as well as Gabby Potter and Becky Edwards here. We are here for a few reasons this evening. First, we want to thank the city for their past support for the past 4 years. And due to your support and sponsorship, the relay in that 4 years has raised $204,364 to fund the cure. I am the experienced, but I like to say fun chair. Gabby is the people chair, and Becky is our Fund the Cure chair. And we're looking forward to it this year. Secondly, we'd like to cordially invite everyone here, including the council, city staff, to our community interest meeting, which we are holding this Thursday, the 18th, at Leading Edge Academy, which is south of Pecana, 18700 North Porter Road. And that meeting is from 6 to 8 p.m. Last but not least, Mayor Price, we'd like to ask you again to be our honorary chairperson for the Maricopa Relay for Life. Okay.
I'd love to. Thank you very much.
We do have the dates scheduled, and we are working with the city, with community services, and we are enjoying working with them for this year's relay. The relay will be on Saturday, April 25th through Sunday, April 26th. We start at 6 p.m. on Saturday, and we end at 6 a.m. on Sunday, because cancer never sleeps. Each year we do have more teams participating. We had 51 teams last year, but due to the wind, 30 showed up. But it was still a good event. We are raising this money to fund the cure. That is our goal. And I think many people in this room probably have been touched by cancer, unfortunately. And by raising funds like this, we will find a cure. There is a geneticist, I'm sorry I don't have his name, that we funded last year with our money from Maricopa. He is a geneticist that does work on fruit flies, and he has made some breakthroughs. I will get further information and pass that on to people. We continue to celebrate those who are survivors, remember those we lost, and help those who are fighting back. We do have a Facebook page. It's Relay for Life Maricopa. If you would like to go on there, we do keep that updated, and we will make sure that we do inform you of everything. Again, we'd like to thank you for your support and hope to see many of you at our community interest meeting, and come help us fight cancer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. And can you tell me again the date? Saturday, April what? 25th. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll go ahead and have Kids Day Maricopa come forward. Now, who would that be?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Dr. John Donahue, Mayor McCarthy.
And Levi.
And Levi.
I apologize for my very extreme casual wear, but she pulled me right out of Kung Fu class.
I'm like, I need your support.
I'm just here to remind everybody about Kids Day Maricopa. It's taking place on Saturday, September 20th, this Saturday, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Maricopa Wells Middle School. It teaches about health, safety, and environmental awareness. We have approximately 75 activities. The criteria for anyone to come there when they have a booth is that they have to teach a kid something, they have to have some fun interactive thing at their booth, and they can't sell anything. So it's just purely about education for the kids and to teach them about tons of things. And my wife might want to add a few things.
Some of the educational programs are water safety with Southwest Ambulance, of course, our own
Hi.
fire department with the fire safety house,
Walking bike safety.
and walking and bike safety as well. Anything and every community program or project that can help with nutrition, education, first things first, Head Start.
You never get in front of a snake.
Oh, and bites as well as poison control. And also, we have a First Tee program that is coming to Maricopa. It's more than just golf. We have the kids karate, ATA. I'd like to thank some of our sponsors. This couldn't be possible without our community. It's our 7th annual. Ak-Chen has been wonderful help and supporters and very involved in Kids Day as well as the mayor. And thank you, Edward, being at Kids Day as well. And Peggy and everyone else. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your help and support.
You have Spike Beverages, a company called Purifier that's going to be bringing a NASCAR driver with their car, which would be pretty cool. ED3 gives us some financial support, Southwestern Pediatrics, Global Water, Mock Development, Tony and Nancy Smith, Bradbury Family, Ultrastar, A1 Pawn, and the list goes on. There's so many people that are involved, and you know, we are so blessed that after all these years that it's still going, it's growing. We had over 6,000 last year. The event is completely free. There's free food, free drinks, free toys. We just went out and bought like 400 or 500 toys, I know. I don't know if there's anything, any questions you have?
Any other questions?
Oh, we're good. Okay. We use it up all the time.
I didn't know
Thank
that
you.
we would. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Donna Hughes.
All right.
I know that is a very fun event for your kids, and hope you all attend. At this time, we have a speaker card from Marla Lewis from the Chamber on Connect 2014, the conference and trade show. Marla.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, Mr. Rose, all of the audience here today. As you all know, one of the roles of the Chamber of Commerce is to provide business resources for the businesses within our community. And we're very lucky to have partnered with the American Indian Chamber of Commerce for a convention and trade show that's going to be coming up, and I'm here to tell you a little bit more about the event. It's on Thursday, September 25th. It's an all-day event. It's going to be out at Harrah's. It's also going to be, part of the event will be at the Ultrastar. And we're very, very pleased to be partnering with not only the American Indian Chamber, Harrah's, Ultrastar, and all of the Ak-Chin enterprises. It's going to be a really, really wonderful event. I want to go through some of the lineup that we have The morning will be the best part of the event, I think, because of all the speakers that we have. We're having Chairman Luis Manuel from the Auction Indian community. We have our keynote speaker in that first session is Coach Kevin Guy from the Arizona Rattlers. Several of the people from the Auction Enterprises, including Robert Livingston, who's the GM at Harrah's, Adam Sachs, who is the GM at Ultrastar, Southern Dunes Golf Club, Brady Wilson, Auction Community Farms, Steve Coaster, Arizona Rattlers, Joe Wyndham, Super Bowl Host Committee, Joe Hickey, Live Nation, Larry Peters, he's the VP of Media and Sponsorship, as well as we know, Mayor Price will be doing the keynote at the luncheon, so thank you for that. And Micah from the city will be talking in the afternoon at one of our breakout sessions about how to do business with the city of Maricopa. And also a Washington update by Kevin Ellis, Director of the Native American Contractors. So we have a really good lineup, and the afternoon will be breakout sessions. It's been a long time since we've had a conference in Maricopa of this caliber, and we're very, very excited, pleased to be a partner. We're encouraging all of you to come to the event. We have just recently extended, the deadline was yesterday for the early bird registration. We've just extended that to Friday, so you have to Friday to get in at the lower rate. And it's just going to be a fabulous day. We're going to start with a continental breakfast. We'll have all the keynote speakers in the morning, and then we'll have the breakout sessions in the afternoon. There's going to be a trade show, so there'll be business-to-business networking and monitoring that you can do. And then afterwards, we are going to have a really nice reception, goodie bag. We have some prizes. We are still looking for door prizes. We're looking for things to put in the goodie bags. If you want to donate something from your business to put in there, we're looking at about 150 goodie bags, many opportunities, and we still have some sponsorship positions left. So if you want to become involved with this and get into the business spirit here, we're going to make this an annual event, and it's a conference you shouldn't miss. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marla.
Any questions?
Appreciate
All right, thanks so
it.
much.
Thank you so much. And then is Mary still here? I saw her walk out earlier. She had a question on wanted to talk about domestic violence 101 events, so I assume Chief Stahl, you'll be doing that.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council, audience. I know I'm not as good looking as Mary, but I'll stand in. She had to go be a parent and do parental things. September 25th is going to be a busy day in the city of Maricopa with the chamber event. We also are fortunate enough to have the Arizona Coalition Against Domestic Violence hosting 2 training classes for free. From 2 to 3:30 at Copper Sky will be the adult session, addressing the dynamics of domestic violence, the use of power and control in abusive relationships, ways to support a victim or survivor, your role as a community member, and available resources and support for families experiencing domestic violence. To host these courses, the second course is for the youth, and I'll go over that in a second. To host these courses and to have the Arizona Coalition come down, we need to have 30 people per session for them to make it worth their while. And I know I've heard a lot of conversation about people who intend on being here, but you do have to register. You can register at www.standupmaricopa.eventbrite.com. And the flyers, some of the flyers are back in the entry area. They're also on the city website. The second session is from 5:30 to 7:30, also at Copper Sky. It's for the teenagers and youth, and the title of the course is Your Voice Matters. And you know, we've heard County Attorney Voiles talk earlier today about domestic violence and the prosecution rate and the difference between misdemeanors and felonies. Speaking from all the national events that are going on, as well as our community in Maricopa, I cannot stress to you the importance of our attendance at these events. It's free, it's education, it's breaking the cycle so that our community is that much safer, and we all play a role in this. It's not just civic leaders, it's not just law enforcement, it's every one of us that plays a role and I certainly encourage you to go to the website and sign up. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Stahl. Appreciate it. I have another speaker card for Rachel LaFall. She had a question regarding item 9.6 on consent. Rachel?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I have one question. Is that task force, I guess, does it include candidates?
I'll turn it over to City Manager Rose. Answer the question. Question being on the visioning session, a question that we actually had this past week about candidates participating on the visioning session.
The task force is actually established by the mayor. What we're recommending to them is that the council members will work with the mayor on the appointment of 2 members per council member. So we're in the process of accepting applications at this time.
Okay.
It's a long way to answer your question, I know, but I'm going to get to it. So we're accepting applications at this time. As a candidate, you're certainly able to submit an application for consideration by the mayor and council. We are discouraging, however, for the city council to engage in the process other than from a governance role. And so if a candidate then becomes a council member and that person is already on the steering committee, then I think it would likely be appropriate for that person to resign from the steering committee. But that's a decision that the mayor and council will end up making. That's just my recommendation to them.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. That's it for speaker cards on Call to the Public. Does anyone else like to come on up? Gail, go ahead and state your name there.
Hello, Mayor, Council, and Mr. Rose and audience. My name is Gail Randolph, and I wanted to introduce Connie Jackson. We're here standing before you today because we would like to invite the community to our Voter Registration Day. In honor of the National Voter Registration Day, which is September 23rd, Connie and I are going to host a voter registration drive on September 27th. And we're going to hold it from 10 to 1 p.m., and that's a Saturday. We're thankful that 5 of our local businesses have stepped up to the occasion. So the community can register at either of the 5 locations. The locations are Hey Maricopa TV, Tacos and More, CNC Barbershop, Honeycut Coffee, and Sports and Cuts Barbershop. And we just wanted you guys to know that it's not affiliated by any party or any campaign. We're just trying to encourage people to register to vote and try to get as many people registered as that day. So if you have any friends, family, neighbors that need a hand-holding, bring them over, and we'll be glad to help them. And again, we want to thank everybody for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Okay. Gail, we do have a question for you. Gail, we do have a question for you.
Yes, we're working on Spanish forms, and we'll also have bilingual folks helping us out for that day to take care of everyone in the community. I also wanted to add the website is www.nationalvoterregistrationday.org. So that's www.nationalvoterregistrationday.org. And we'll have a few volunteers at each location.
Perfect.
So thank you, Councilman Gussie. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Lee.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. My name is Lee Filas, ATA Martial Arts and Karate for Kids. Like the chief said, we all have a part. I encourage everybody to attend the Kids Day this weekend and also take part in the stand-up events coming up this month. We have our quarterly safety classes coming up at the Martial Arts School. October 11th will be our Child Safety and Abduction Prevention Seminar. October 18th will be our bullying prevention seminar, appropriate for ages 5 and up. Both classes will start at 11 a.m. They're all free and open to the public, so anybody is welcome to join us. Great classes. The next weekend on October 25th, same time, 11 a.m., will be our women's self-defense class. Again, open to the public. That class is appropriate for ages 13 and up. If you're under 18, we do require a parent to be with you and at that session. All the events are taking place at the school, ATA Martial Arts, 44400 West Honeycutt, which is right off John Wayne Parkway next to Honeycutt Coffee. They can register by email at maricopa@usaata.com, by phone at the school at 520-494-2883, or by signing up on the Facebook page, Sunrise Taekwondo Maricopa. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lee. Appreciate it.
Good
Mr.
evening,
Wade.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, Mr. Rose. I actually wasn't going to come forward today and say this, but I think it's important just because of the subject. I had an opportunity this weekend to spend 2 hours of community service with the Recycling Association of Maricopa, or RAM. And it was an eye-opening experience. In fact, knowing that there's an organization out there who serves this purpose for the community and does it with the kind of energy and drive that they have. It was a challenge that was set before me to do this as part of the Hey Maricopa TV challenge. But I got more out of it, I believe, than they were able to, than I think I gave to them. Just knowing that service is out there, is available, knowing that we have a member of our community that has served us unselfishly for going on almost 18 years. And I think that if anyone gets an opportunity to go out there just to see the facility, take their goods out there if they have goods that need to be recycled or goods that need to turn in, you'll get a really good appreciation for why this person does what they do. You know, and Gina and her husband Angel were good hosts. They were good educators for me. And I think that, again, as I said, it's important to know that there are people out there who are just unselfish. They just do what they do because they love the community that they're in. And I was glad to participate with a group of people like that this weekend. So I just didn't want to pass without saying that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. Anyone else call the public at this time? Seeing no one, go ahead and close the call to the public and move on. Thank you very much for your participation this evening. That will take us to the minutes of 7.1 and 7.2. Can I have a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on the item? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. No public hearings to announce at this time, so that takes us to the consent agenda. On the consent agenda, we have removed 9.9 and had our questions answered on the others. Can we have a motion to approve consent minus 9.9?
So moved.
Then, Mr. Mayor.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on the item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That takes us to the regular agenda, at which point we will start with 9.9. And I believe that will bring us to a resolution of the Mayor and City Council, City of Maricopa, authorizing the imposition and collection of fees of the rental for Copper Sky Multi-Generational Aquatic Center by nonprofit organizations. And Christy, I believe we'll turn the time over to you.
Honorable Mayor and members of the council, before you is the nonprofit facility rental fees for Copper Sky. The department currently charges nonprofit organizations resident or non-resident rates based on the address of the nonprofit. And I know it was council recommendation to offer peak and non-peak rates. So staff is proposing these rates. We worked together and looked at what other cities are doing, and we essentially are providing a 20% discount off the residential per rate hour to nonprofit organizations for facility rentals during the non-peak hours. Those non-peak hours are from 5 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, from Labor Day through Memorial Day. And nonprofit organizations are defined as a business entity that is granted the tax exempt status by the Internal Revenue Service and/or Arizona state law. So these are the proposed rates. So you have the resident per hour in that first column, the non-resident per hour, the nonprofit peak per hour, and the nonprofit non-peak per hour. And as I mentioned, it's a 20% discount for the nonprofits during the non-peak hours.
Okay.
So this proposal went to the PRL committee on June 25th and was approved they approved it for recommendation to you. And then we published it on the city's website. We did the public notice for 60 days beginning July 8th. So if you have any questions.
Perfect. I'll turn it over to Councilmember Kimball, who asked for this item to be removed.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So back on May 20th, I believe, this item was brought to council, and we had a lot of discussion on this particular topic, and I think what my direction was, and the direction I thought that council was going, was to offer peak and non-peak hours to residents and nonprofits, not just nonprofits. My reasoning behind that would be that me getting together with a bunch of my friends for a birthday party, non-peak hours, we're not a business trying to make profit, so technically we're a nonprofit. We're not a 501c3 or whatnot, but I think that the residents deserve the 20% off-peak hours, as do the nonprofits, seeing as though the place isn't full every day of the week, and money is better. Filling the place is better than having it sit vacant, so any dollars that we could get on the non-peak hours would be good. So that's why I pulled the item, because I thought that the direction was to do off-peak hours for everybody, not just nonprofits.
Okay. Council, thoughts, questions, concerns? Yes, Vice Mayor.
Is the incentive for this 20% discount to get more usage out of the facility? Are we lacking usage from during these non-peak hours, and we're trying to create more traffic?
If you ask the staff, they would probably tell you that we're pretty full. Definitely in the evenings, obviously throughout the summer all day long with all of our programs and all the enrichment programs that we've added to the schedule. I think during some of these non-peak times, there's probably some room to go ahead and increase, and hopefully this will encourage some of those nonprofits looking to hold meetings during the day, an opportunity to have a discount. So I think that essentially it will help, but we are filling the facility.
Okay. I think that was my initial concern as well, was that, I had sent you an email yesterday talking about perhaps a more robust policy, and I understand that PRL was able to look at this, and I appreciate their input on it as well. But I'm of the same perception that is Councilmember Kimball, from the extent that I do want to make sure that it's being used. I mean, if it's sitting vacant and we're charging a fee that's too high, then it's not doing us any good. Where if that fee was lower and it was packed the entire time, or at least most of the time, then that revenue that's being generated certainly helps offset electric bills, et cetera. And so, it's finding that magical price point while at the same time recognizing that there are certainly high use times, and therefore supply and demand comes into play. So I kind of turn it back to Councilmember Kimball and see what he wants to do.
Well, ultimately, Mr. Mayor, thank you. I would like the council to move forward with offering off-peak discounts to not just nonprofits, but to everybody. Like if a citizen wants to have a party and they know that they can save, $30, $40, whatever the discount may be, having an off-peak party or meeting there, we could potentially, as Christy just said, it's busy at night, right, on the peak hours. So that would probably sway somebody to potentially have their party or whatnot on an off-peak time, fill the facility. That resident would save some money, and then the city would generate said revenue from the place sitting vacant off-peak. That would be my recommendation, if council so chooses.
Councilman Chapados.
I would agree with Councilmember Kimball. I just want to make sure we're making the distinction that the non-peak rate is for residents as opposed to non-residents?
Correct.
Okay, but I don't mean to go down. I'm not trying to get mired in the weeds here, but I don't want to go down a slippery slope. I mean, have we determined what a resident is? If it's a business that comes in here and they're headquartered in Phoenix, but their employee lives here, I mean, do they have to be on site or on the premises to get that non-peak hour?
Well, it would be, if it's my understanding, if you're a resident coming in, if you live within city limits and you reserve the facility, you're a resident.
So it's the person reserving it, not necessarily the company or the corporation. Okay, good. Yeah, not yet. The other thing I think that we want to do is, I think we want to set up a timeline in which we review this plan again. So maybe give it a year and then set it to where we come back and review it. Not that I'm trying to create more work, but I think that the reality is that we're looking at something that's still relatively new, and so the word is still getting out, and people are still, they may not understand or know that these rates exist yet. So if we set this rate and go along with what Councilmember Kimball is suggesting, that we come back in a year and reassess or reevaluate, has it increased usage? And are we finding that we can increase it $5 and, or maybe we need to adjust times or something. So I certainly would like to have kind of a sunset to it where we have to come back and revisit it.
Okay. So is the council's request then to go ahead and keep the rates the way they are and just add that this nonprofit, non-peak per hour rate is also available for residents?
That would be the motion that I would make for this item.
Council, we pretty much in understanding or agreement to that? Is
it a motion?
Ready to move?
I'll make a sure.
Honorable Mayor, there was one other addition, that this policy sunsets in 1 year, and so it will automatically come back to the city council for consideration.
Correct. Okay. So if you can make that motion, Councilmember Kimball,
Yes.
with that provision.
So move to approve 9.9 with the exception, or the addition of residents and nonprofits receiving a 20% discount off peak hours sunsetting 1 year from inception.
I'll support that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on the item? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Aye, Rachel. That takes us to item 10.1. The mayor and city council shall discuss and possibly take action to appoint one citizen to fill a vacancy on the Industrial Development Authority Board. This is for discussion and action. Who's, is this Paul? Who's doing the IDA? Paul or Micah?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Before you tonight, we have an applicant for the Maricopa IDA Board. As you know, we've been working to fill this board for quite some time now and are actively recruiting members, and we are pleased to have before you tonight an application for Ms. Courtney Tyler.
Great. This is a board that's a little different than some of the other boards that deal with individual council members that pick, and so this is obviously doesn't apply to that, so it's just a name that has been provided, and so therefore it's up for all of us. I would certainly support Courtney. She's been, an active member of this community. I think Courtney, you even won the Paint the Town Red week. That's pretty exciting. So congratulations on that for her business, and she's been an active member and a P&Z commissioner and chairwoman. So I'd certainly support her. So I'd motion to approve Courtney.
Second.
We have a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you and congratulations, Courtney. Appreciate it. Thank you. That takes us to the next item where we're going to fill a vacancy on the Planning and Zoning Commission. I believe this item is for Councilmember Kimball. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. I received 2 applications for this appointment to the Planning and Zoning Commission. I'm very proud to announce that I'm nominating Ted Yoakum for this position. He's the current chair of the Board of Adjustments. He's served on the Maricopa Zoning Code Rewrite Task Force, and he's among the first 3 MAP members to achieve platinum status. Ted's been an active member in the community. It's with my honor to put him forward for appointment to Planning and Zoning.
Wonderful. So we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations, Mr. Yoakum. Thank you very much for your applications. Appreciate it. Thank you, Councilmember Kimball. On to item 10.3.
Mr. Mayor, point of
Yes.
order. Since Mr. Yocum is currently on the Board of Adjustment, it's my understanding he'll be resigning from that board, which creates another opening on the Board of Adjustment. Is that correct?
I believe that'd be correct. Yep. Okay. On to 10.3, we're going to take action to become a member of Access Arizona in the amount to not to exceed $10,000. Funding for this membership will be drawn from the general fund. I believe this is for Micah.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. During the May 20th City Council, you received a presentation from representatives of Access Arizona regarding their organization and our potential membership in that organization. At that time, you asked us to go forward, begin negotiations with Access Arizona to come up with a one-year trial membership introductory rate. The number that we have negotiated with Access Arizona and before you for consideration is a one-year introductory membership rate of $10,000. So happy to answer any questions you may have.
Council, questions, thoughts?
Micah, this introductory rate actually is $10,000. What happens after 1 year when we become a full member? What is the membership then?
After, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, after 1 year, the introductory rate will expire and we'll go to the full public membership rate, which is calculated on a per capita ratio of $1.50 per capita. So based upon the 2013 Office of Employment and Population Statistics as published by the Arizona Department of Administration, that total membership amount would come to $69,210 plus or minus depending on population growth.
Councilor Brown's to answer your question.
Yes, so this, obviously we're increasing our population annually, at least we hope we are. So at some point, if we were to get to 70,000 population, what would that represent?
Excuse me, Mr. Brown, Councilmember Brown, I had a hard time hearing the end of your question.
Well, it's based on the current population, so obviously we're projecting ahead, at least we tout that we're growing the population. If that continues, and I would think in 5-10-year period, we'll be at 75,000. If we continue to be members of this organization, that could be prohibitive cost as far as membership.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, that is a potential. We could see population growth, which would impact our per capita contribution to Access Arizona.
Yes, Councilwoman Chapados, and over to Councilmember Kimball.
If and when we reach 70,000, that membership level will be $105,000. As valuable as our networking and membership opportunities are, I feel at this time we could probably best use that $10,000 for some current projects. I'm just not certain that I can support this at this time.
Councilman Kimball.
Micah, do you think that down the road after our introductory 1 year $10,000 membership that Access Arizona is going to provide us $70,000 worth of benefit economic development wise?
Mayor, members of the council, obviously it's hard to project into the future what that definitive benefit will be. However, I think Access Arizona is a very reputable organization and they will do their best to provide return on investment for the city.
Vice Mayor Farrell.
I would support this only because $10,000 is a lot of money, but it's also a chance to bring us to the table just to see what Access Arizona can do for the city of Maricopa. Pinal County government, City of Casa Grande, City of Coolidge, and the town of Eloy all pay the same assessment fee. Casa Grande's up to about $75,000, $80,000. And legal counsel can help me with this because he's also on the board as well, but if it's to my understanding, in the last 2 years, Access Arizona has brought 250 jobs to Casa Grande alone.
Yes, Vice Mayor. I think it was with the two dairy plants, the yogurt plant and the
sour cream plant, and now there's also Tractor Supply that is in negotiations. I think Access Arizona has been involved in all of them.
And all the industries that Dennis mentioned are industries that Access Arizona went and recruited and sold Central Arizona on. So to me, it would be worth that $10,000 investment over the next year just to see what Access Arizona can do for the city of Maricopa, to see if it's a sound investment to move forward with.
Councilmember Brown, did you have
Well,
a-
I fully, partially agree with that, Mr. Vice Mayor. I recognize that Access Arizona is the offshoot of Curative, which we were a member of for some years. We were paying about $70,000 a year for membership. We got no leads. That's the reason why we discontinued membership. The reformed group, Access Arizona, has done a much better job. My concern is future out years. What are we looking at? $10,000 is a very minimum amount. If you're talking about $70,000 and $100,000, so on, are we able to bear that burden when we still are a growing city needing more things for ourselves? We spoke earlier about the nonprofit situation. Can we afford it? Now, obviously, as our population increases, our income will increase because we will be attracting retail, light industry, which will bode well for us. This is a viable city. We've all very actively engaged in making it more viable. But right now, I would have a problem with joining it unless it's going to be limited just for that 1 year and take a look at it.
And I think that's what it is, isn't it, Mike? That we're not under the gun to join after the second year.
Mayor, Vice Mayor Farrell, that is correct. That is the introductory rate proposition.
Councilmember Kimball.
So if we're not under any obligation to join the second year, I certainly for 70 grand would not be okay joining for the second year. We might as well just save the 10 grand and not join for the first year. It would be my thought process on that. So I probably will not support this.
You know, this is going to sound strange, perhaps, coming from me, because most of you know
don't
I'm...
spend money.
No, I don't want to spend money. I all for joining economic development organizations. You know, I've watched this as an audience member from the council that you spoke of, Mr. Brown, that decided that, you know, it was too costly at that time. You know, at the time from the audience, I was in disagreement with that because I didn't understand some of the backstory. And now, being in this position today, I see it a little differently. You know, I would disagree with a little bit with my colleague in the fact that I think that, you know, Casa Grande not only indeed did land those projects with the help of Access Arizona, but also with the ACA and GPEC, to which we're members of GPEC. ACA is the Arizona Commerce Authority. And I think that the overarching worry that I have regarding this particular organization is Vice Mayor Farrell brings up a really interesting point about, you know, kind of giving it a trial run. I love that idea. However, the problem I have is that, you know, in speaking with Jim Dinkle, who is the CEO, basically, the president, you know, he immediately had to field questions from his other members about, well, if Casa Grande's paying $75,000 and Eloy's paying, you know, $59,000, and, you know, Pinal County's paying whatever they're paying, 100 and something thousand, then if we're paying 10, even for a year, are we going to get the same level of service? And the answer was clearly no. He can't provide his existing full-paying membership the same level of service and outgoing as we would. So if we're going to pay $10,000 for a trial run to which we're only going to get 10% of the output, then why spend the $10,000 in the first place? It seems to me that it would be better suited that we spend the $10,000 on the existing programs that we already have in place, like the advertising program that this council sat down in its strategic session and said, we want to advertise more. And so I know that can be, you know, construed as advertising, but again, if we're not going to get the return from it based on a cap, so to speak, to begin with, I really do have a hard time spending $10,000 on that organization. Other comments, questions, concerns? With that, we need a motion, up or down.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move to not approve 10.3.
So we have a motion to not approve 10.3.
Support.
There's a second. Is there further discussion on the item? Okay. Let's move to a roll call, please.
Councilmember Kimball? Yes.
Vice Mayor Farrell?
No.
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gussie?
Yes.
Councilmember Chapados?
Yes.
Councilmember Frank?
Yes.
Mayor Price?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Takes us to item 10.4. Going to possibly take action and approve an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Maricopa and Central Arizona College for the purpose of offering special interest classes on an annual basis. Nikita. Nikita, is your
It's not on.
thing on? Microphone?
Can you hear me now?
Perfect.
There we go.
Thank you.
Honorable Mayor and members of City Council, good evening. My name is Nikita Rasso. I'm here with Recreation Coordinator for the City of Maricopa and Copper Sky. I'm here to talk to you guys today about the intergovernmental agreement between Central Arizona College and the City of Maricopa. The purpose today is to discuss the intergovernmental agreement. We'd like to start annually offering special interest classes for with the city as well as Central Arizona College on their campus, offering a variety of special interest classes for adults and seniors. This will help the community with their physical and mental wellness. With the intergovernmental agreement, the city will have some parameters to follow. We will be advertising the classes in our quarterly Play Maricopa catalog. We will also be handling all registration fees, issuing refunds and transfers. We will also be handling all of the rosters and making sure that Central Arizona College gets those. And finally, we will be processing all invoices from those classes that will be offered. As well, Central Arizona College will also have responsibilities with the intergovernmental agreement. They will be providing all of the classes for adults and seniors, and will be making sure that we get those for our quarterly Play Maricopa catalog. They are also responsible for recruiting, selecting, and employing all of the instructors at their own cost. And they will be providing the facilities as well, and so they'll need to make sure that their rooms are available. And finally, they'll be responsible for invoicing the city for those classes. As I've said, we've been working with Central Arizona College since 2010, but we want to continue that partnership. And I just wanted to show you guys some of the classes that we offered for this fall season that started on September 8th. As you can see, there's lots of art classes, yoga for physical, as well as computer, as well as cultural, French and Spanish classes. So as you can see, it offers a variety of classes that the city itself is not currently offering, and opens the door for adults and seniors. And I would welcome any questions or comments.
Council, comments, questions on this item? Yes.
Nikita, has there been any conversations with CAC about offering programs for seniors at a discounted rate, or is the rate going to be uniform for everybody?
Yes, Mayor and Councilmember Chapados. We have not discussed a discount for seniors, but they do keep the cost economical, and they are very understanding of the Maricopa community and try to make those prices reasonable.
Okay, and perhaps if you have that conversation again, extend that offer to veterans as well?
Yes, Mayor and Councilmember Chapados. That's definitely something to consider, and I would talk to the college about that because they do determine the fees based on their instructors.
Nikita, you said just a few minutes ago, and maybe I heard you wrong, but you talked about an invoice. Is that invoice based on the fact that we're receiving revenue for this? I mean, we're receiving, as per the staff report, 25% of the revenue. So are we having any expenditures to the budget at all? I mean, it doesn't seem like it apparently to the staff report, but in your report you said there's an invoice.
Yes, Mayor. There is an invoice because we collect all of the registration fee up front. And so the college needs to invoice us for their 75% cut. The only expenditure that we have is our Play Maricopa catalog. We don't use any of our facilities.
Gotcha. Perfect. Any other questions, considerations? Can I have a motion, please?
So
Move
moved.
to approve. Second.
A motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Item 10.5, the mayor and city council shall discuss and possibly take action to create a 7-member Aging in Place Program Advisory Committee. This is Mr. Rose.
Honorable Mayor and council members, I got to figure out how to work this microphone. On June the 17th, the mayor and council received a presentation regarding the creation of an Aging in Place program for the city of Maricopa. The presentation outlined the needs for the seniors within Maricopa to create a program that would focus on the transportation, recreation, and information referral needs of our seniors. As a part of the program, or as a part of the presentation, we identified the need to create an advisory committee that staff would work with to create this Aging in Place program, and that would provide guidance and advice to the mayor and council on this particular issue. The approval of this agenda item would create the advisory committee, which would be a standing committee for the city. As a part of the presentation as well, I indicated to you to look to an organization that's a nonprofit called Experience Matters to identify an individual that would have a great deal of experience in this area to provide us with assistance in getting this program up and running. The length of term for that individual would be 1 year. The intention would be for the program to end up being designed in a way where it could be self-sustainable and perhaps where a volunteer could take over the program long-term once it is up and operating. I would like to introduce to you at this time Mr. Arnold Jackson, who is the fellow that has come to us from Experience Matters. Mr. Jackson has more than 14 years of experience with Tanner Community Development Corporation as the CEO and Chief Operating Officer, and he also has more than 27 years with Honeywell International. And in addition to that, he is also a pastor of a church here in Maricopa. Did you have a few things to say, Mr. Jackson?
Mr. Mayor and City Council and City Manager Rose and individuals sitting in the audience today, we're excited about what we can do from the standpoint of an Aging in Place for the City of Maricopa. There are focus groups that would have to be done and surveys that would have to be done, and we want to go forward and do that. But through Experience Matters and Maricopa Association of Government, we've worked out some plans and some strategies with the city manager, and so we feel good about it, feel good about the city. Many of the people in the church that I pastor, Mount Moriah Community AME Church, are seniors themselves, so it would be good from that standpoint. So we're excited about doing it and getting to work with it.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
Mr. Jackson would be assisting us in achieving 4 strategic goals. Assess the city of Maricopa's priorities for being an age-friendly community. Determine the most viable age-friendly models for the city of Maricopa. Prepare to launch one of the more age-friendly models and launch the new age-friendly model. So those are the 4 goals that he would be assisting us with. And I would address any questions that you might have.
Council, questions? Yes, Councilwoman Chapados.
Mr. Rose, do you have a projected time frame as to when this process would start?
The intention, if the advisory committee is created today, we would bring back to you a process for the actual appointments, and the process has already started. The process started with engaging MAG into this process and outlining kind of the objectives that we would try to achieve, as well as the calendar of events and the dates associated with that. We're at the phase now where we need the steering committee on board to accomplish a lot of the other objectives in this project. And as soon as we have enough to have a quorum, the intention would be to have their first meeting and to start identifying for them the next steps.
Okay. And because this would be a standing committee, would they come under the same parameters as our BCC rules and guidelines?
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Mayor, I'd move to approve this agenda item.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the table. Is there any further discussion on the item?
I'd just like to comment, Mr. Mayor, I can't congratulate you, Mr. Rose, in picking such an outstanding candidate. I've had the pleasure of knowing Reverend Jackson, outstanding man of character and caliber. My kudos to you.
Thank you.
So there's a motion on the table. It's been seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Jackson, for agreeing to participate. Appreciate it. This will take us to item 10.6, which the City Council shall discuss, possibly take action to approve a site plan review, SPR 14-03, Public Works and Fire Maintenance Facility. Rudy.
Mayor, council members, the City of Maricopa is requesting review and approval of the site, landscape, photometric, and elevation plans for a proposed public works and fire maintenance facility. The development includes a two-story, 15,488 square foot maintenance facility for both the Public Works and Fire Department to maintain and repair service vehicles. The facility will house motor vehicle repair bays, storage areas, and a small office area for the departments. The site is located just west from the southwest corner of Edison Road and Roosevelt Avenue within the Heritage District redevelopment area. Also like to mention that on September 8th this year, a motion was made by the Planning and Zoning Commissioners, Commissioner Huggins, to approve site plan review case number SPR 1403, subject to the conditions recommended by the Commission. It was also seconded by Commissioner Chair Batt. That voice carried over 4-0. I'd like to go ahead and pass along presentation that Gensler will be presenting on the design elements of the building.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. Thank you for the opportunity to do a short presentation this evening. My name is Jay Soderberg, principal with Gensler. Also, Josh Howe is here with Oakland, and we're part of the Oakland Gensler design build team for this project. Do we have the presentation up? Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Just a little bit of a background with the project. The project will be located directly adjacent to the location of the fire station number 575. As you see in the graphic here, basically north of West Garvey Avenue. Also, it'll be kind of boundaried by, to the north, Edison Road. This is roughly about a 5-acre site. It's a site that provides, we think, tremendous access for this type of facility. This facility will also be part of the Heritage Design District. So we'll share with you a couple images of the project tonight that have gone through that Heritage District approval as part of the project. And I think as Rudy had mentioned, it's roughly about a 15,000 square foot facility. This will consolidate public works, fleet, and fire into a single maintenance facility under one roof. The opportunity for the project has allowed a lot of kind of sharing of infrastructure. It's also allowed consolidation of not only maintenance facility for service vehicles and fire vehicles, but also for storage areas and areas kind of on the site, for storage of a lot of various city type equipment. A little bit about the building. These are some of the elevations of the project. As you can see, it's a 2-story facility. The picture on the top there, the north elevation, is the elevation that'll face the Edison Avenue. You see it's a 2-story facility again. It's a masonry facility. It's a very efficient structure, but the structure also has attributes to it that fit into the Heritage Design District. There'll be a long canopy element that'll face the street that'll kind of bring the scale down of typically a very kind of taller type building. Again, we're roughly about 32 feet tall. This will facilitate fire trucks being able to be brought in and the hoods to be able to be tipped up to 28 feet to be able to be serviced within the facility. The public works component of the project and the fire component of the project will have separate entries into the building. Also on the south side, the second view that you see there will also be a canopy structure that will provide some outdoor and shaded area. This was a great strategy that was worked through with staff to provide some additional work area for staff, not under air-conditioned kind of means. So it's outside area that's much more cost-effective than building it kind of inside the building. So we'll have some of those areas there. There'll also be a security fence around the site to protect all of the maintenance equipment and storage materials as part of that. And then you can kind of see we're using the colors and the materials that, again, have been kind of approved and worked through the Heritage Design District. Again, a very functional building, but also a building that we've tried very hard to kind of help set a standard in the Heritage Design District for when new projects are developed within this area. Then the last view, very quickly, wanted to show you is just a perspective view of the new facility, the proposed facility, again, off of Edison, what that would look like as you approach that. We have met the city requirements for landscaping and kind of buffering of the facility and the building. Again, the idea was to kind of set it back from the street and kind of give it a bit of buffer from the main street. And again, a very kind of highly functional and very utilitarian building, but having a bit of aesthetics to it to fit within the Heritage Design District. And with that, we'd like to open it up for questions.
Great. I have a few questions as it applies to this. I was not able to sit in on the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting in which a lot of this was discussed. I know that Councilman Chapados was there, and so maybe she can answer these questions as well. But I guess my first question is as I look at the exterior, just again, in general, are the amount of bays sufficient to be able to do the work? 'Cause, I mean, isn't that the purpose of this, to be able to pull these vehicles inside and so these guys can work on this in the shade versus being out in the open on the old city hall grounds, that type of thing? So are the bays sufficient?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Yes, we have approximately, we have a number of bays that will work for specifically for fire. We also have bays that will be part of the fleet department as part of the development of the building. We've worked very closely with staff on the requirements that would facilitate their needs for this. There's also the appropriate storage within the building, and also a lot of those kind of elements that currently may live outside right now are going to have a place within the building that will help with the sort of the longevity of a lot of the maintenance, the tools, those types of things that they'll be able to work with. Both of the fleet, the public works fleet and fire have also been great to work with in a sense of looking for efficiencies within the building. So a lot of the infrastructure that happens within the building where we kind of, for instance, kind of store a lot of the type of different materials, we're sharing those kind of locations so that we're not duplicating that within the development of this. And so, yes, the answer to the question is yes, we have, we think, adequate facilities there for service bays for all three of the users of the building.
And two follow-on questions. The first one is the yard slash Amtrak. The yard is going to be a big area where there can be multiple vehicles stored in it, and so
Yes.
I mean, I guess my question is, are we boxing that to the full amount? And if so, are we taking into consideration that the Amtrak station will be on a site adjacent to it at some point in the future? So just keeping that in mind in consideration as we design this.
You bet. Mr. Mayor, we have looked at the available area for this project was a little bit over 7 acres, and which the city owns. That would be kind of basically north of where the proposed Amtrak area would be. We're proposing to use roughly about 5 acres of that right now in the first phase, with the hope and the availability to kind of increase another couple acres of expansion for storage space when needed.
Perfect. That answers my question. Thank you. Other questions, Council? Councilwoman Chapados.
Hi, Jay. Am I looking at this correctly? Is there's 2 separate entrances, one half for Public Works and the other for Fire? It's hard to tell by this front elevation, but it looks like there's 2 entrances.
Yeah, Councilwoman Chapados, what we're seeing here is basically each of the users have access, an access bay to be able to kind of pull their vehicles in and out of that. The way it's designed is that vehicles can pull completely through the building. So As they kind of come in off of Edison, they can pull into the front, they can open their bays and pull in. They can pull through the building out to the south side, which where the storage areas would be for that. So the way that it's kind of set up is that each of the, for fire and for fleet, they have their own particular base that they can pull into. There's a little bit of some different requirements for both of those of users in the building as it relates to the certain equipment they use and the bay depths and the widths that they need to bring in their equipment and their tools for that. But it's been designed, for each of those bays to facilitate for the specific trucks and city equipment that they'll bring into that.
Okay. And then the spots located in the front of the building, that's for public access, or is that for staff?
Those are visitor parking spaces that are there. We also have staff parking, which will happen, basically there's a few spaces there that can facilitate that, but for the most part, that'll happen kind of behind the security line on the south side of the, basically of the layout of the plan.
Okay.
We're required about 35 spaces by city zoning and codes for this project.
Okay. And the area that I see at the northwest end, kind of, that's the offices?
Yes, that's a small office component that would be on the west side of the building.
And that's fire admin? Or is there also public works offices in there?
No, those offices that you see there will be for the fire admin. The fire piece of this is mostly for maintenance, to service their vehicles, for storage, and then we were able to work in a small mezzanine area for additional storage space that they need. But this, the office area of this facilitates mostly the public works facility.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? With that, can I have a motion, please? We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Great, thank you. That takes us to item 10.7, which we've been asked to table at this time. So can I have a motion to table item 10.7 to a future date?
So
Move
moved.
to table.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Takes us to item 10.8. This is a resolution of the the resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Maricopa declaring as a public record the certain document filed with the city clerk and entitled article, can't do my Roman numerals right now, Code of Ethics for board and committees and commissions. Paul.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is a continuation of the Ethics Task Force. The second half of their task was to create a code of ethics for the boards, committees, commission members. And so working again a little bit shorter time frame, Mayor Price, Councilwoman Gussie, and Councilmember Chapados, I think we had 2 meetings where we put this together. And basically what we did was we adapted the existing City Council Code of Ethics and modified that to fit the boards, committees, commissions who are appointed members, not elected. So the major differences are, again, there's certain things that didn't need to be in there because they were appointed, not elected. They didn't have any contingency funds to worry about, so we pulled that out. And on the sanctions, we did have the ultimate sanction of being able to remove members from the boards, committees, commissions, which is some of the differences. So we basically, the meat and potatoes of the ethics is there, just kind of adapted it to fit these members. In implementation, it'll take 60 days for this to go into effect. There'll be a resolution you have to vote on and the ordinance, 2 parts. As like the City Council Board Ethics Code, there will be a requirement for people who are appointed to boards, committees, commissions to sign, to agree to abide by this. With the upcoming seating of the new council, all members of boards, committees, commissions have to be reappointed, and given the 60-day lag that we'll have, the plan is to have them all sign as they are reappointed as the council turns over. With that, open to any questions.
Any questions? If not, can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Yes. Councilwoman Chapados.
I just wanted to take this opportunity to acknowledge the members of the BCCs that also attended those meetings and gave their input and guidance and suggestions for us drafting this code.
Perfect. There's a motion on the table. It's been seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. That takes us to 10.9, which is the ordinance. So an ordinance of the mayor's, an ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of Maricopa, Arizona, adopting Article 9 Code of Ethics by reference as Article 9 of Chapter 2 of the Maricopa City Code and providing for severability and the effective date thereof. Discussion and action, obviously item related to Resolution 14-31. This is a roll call. Can I have a motion, please?
Move to approve.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Gussie? Yes. Councilmember Frank?
Yes.
Councilmember Chapados?
Yes.
Councilmember Brown?
Yes?
Vice Mayor Farrell? Councilmember Kimball?
Yes.
Mayor Price?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Excellent. Thank you. Takes us to item 10.10, a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Maricopa declaring as a public record that a certain document filed with the city clerk and entitled Chapter 12, Traffic and Parking of the Maricopa City Code relating to the enforcement and administration of traffic and parking related laws and regulations within the city of Maricopa and amending the city code by eliminating Articles 1 through 4 in Chapters 12 of the previously adopted city code and replacing those articles with Sections 12-1 through 12-59, discussion and action. Chief Stahl.
Can I ask you to repeat that?
No, absolutely not. If it wasn't for darn legal, we'd just move on.
Mayor, members of council, there have been several requests to revise Chapter 12 of the Parking Code, and in looking at the old parking code, it was adopted by county and very outdated and didn't apply to municipalities. I'm not going to go over all of this because really it's mostly a language cleanup and in a very understandable language for everybody to understand, including the officers, and a fine schedule that has been vetted with other municipalities, surrounding communities, and been vetted with our legal unit. Some of the things that I do want to go over with you, just the highlights. We've removed the term commercial vehicle in the new code, and it is covered under oversized vehicles. And one of the language components of that, because it's so confusing to have an officer out there with a tape measure, measuring 84 feet, the or gross vehicle weight over 8,000 pounds is very easy for officers to understand just by looking at axle sizes and things like that. Much easier for them to understand than getting out tape measures and those types of things. In the enforcement part 1211E, or I'm sorry, 1211F, it authorizes myself to assign volunteers or police aides to enforce this part of the parking code. So it doesn't have to be police officers. If we need to make assignments as necessary for volunteers, we can assign that. So I know Councilwoman Chapados talked about CERT people possibly doing this. Certainly I could assign them that in that fashion as well. Most of the language, again, is now cleanup. When you go to section 12-15, because of our good working relationship with the engineering department, we're now, it's both myself and city engineer that are designated to look at and maintain to make sure the appropriate traffic control devices are there, whether they be painted curbs, whether they be proper signage, whether they be actual lightage, traffic control devices and things like that. We'll work in cooperation to make sure that at least we can address them or allow the council to address whether they want to purchase traffic control devices versus stop signs and things like that. So we'll work with them to do traffic studies. This part of the code just authorizes me to work with the city engineer to do that. You go to section 12-40, suspension of traffic and parking ordinance. That was one of the hot topics where for special events we could suspend certain traffic ordinances or parking ordinances for a period of up to 72 hours if that is deemed necessary. Special occurrences, floods, train derailments, things like that may necessitate going into this as well. 12-41 is a new one, placing debris in roadway. It's a new ordinance that has a little bit stiffer fine of $100 on that one. Excuse me. 12-53 was really the big cleanup. There was a lot of unnecessary language in the former ordinance. It actually listed streets that there were parking restrictions. This one basically makes it very clear. The normal things, no closer than 15 feet from a fire hydrant, etc. And the clearest part of it is in making sure not to park between where it says don't park. The emergency no parking 1256 is again just basically a cleanup language so that if we need to have an emergency, again, like I already stated, plus special events, we can make those areas no parkings for those types of things. Oversized motor vehicles, we changed the oversized motor vehicle parking to a period of less than 12 hours versus 24 hours. That was the major change there. And I believe, the term dumpster in 12-61 is about the only other major change. I would entertain any questions that you might have at this time.
Council questions? Councilwoman Chapados.
Chief, on 12-57, the vehicles that are prohibited from parking, is there not a provision that specifies those companies, probably utility-oriented companies that have to take their vehicles home for service, could be allowed to park on the street if they don't fit in their driveway? And does that ordinance cover those?
Mayor, Councilwoman Chapados, 12-57 is now eliminated, and it's that specific violation is addressed in 1253, and it is covered in that area. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to read that through extensively, and I appreciate you and staff getting on that. I know that, as the mayor and council have been receiving concerns considering the Desert Cedars subdivision, right next to Copper Sky and the advent of that, so it's certainly a different change for them. But as we move forward, just being able to give the police department more leeway along those streets certainly, I know, has been a desire of council, so we appreciate you getting on that and moving towards it. So with that, I would motion to approve item 10.11, or excuse me, 10.10. We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. And that takes us to the ordinance on 10.11, the ordinance of the mayor and city council in the city of Maricopa, Arizona, adopting chapter 12, traffic and parking by reference to sections 12-1 through 12-59 of the Maricopa City Code, and repealing articles 1 through 4 of the chapter 12 of the Maricopa City Code, and providing for the severability and effective date thereof. Discussion and action. Obviously, this is the roll call, so can I have a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Here we go again. I am too tired. I apologize. Let's try that again. Let's move to the roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Farrell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Gussie. Yes. Councilmember Frank,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapados,
Yes.
Councilmember Kimball,
Yes.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Mayor Price.
Yes.
Motion passes.
I apologize. Thank you.
Thank you all for your support and patience on this.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Item 10.12, the mayor and council shall discuss a request made by Vice Mayor Farrell and Councilmember Kimball to possibly amend Section 2-76 of the Maricopa City Code regarding the order of business. I'll turn this over to the both of you.
I'll defer to Councilmember Kimball.
Councilmember
Mr.
Kimball, you're on the hot seat.
Yeah, it's all good. So, in having a conversation with the vice mayor, probably 3 or 4 times now after council meetings that have ended at, after each session, 11 o'clock, 10:30 at night, we had talked about, the call to the public being at the beginning of the meeting, and how many people show up, and especially during campaign season, candidates coming and talking about their candidacy for office, and it's gets to be more and more and more every other meeting or so. And so we figured, as to not violate open meeting law, that we would bring it forward to council for discussion and your thoughts on potentially moving the call to the public to the end of the meeting. So that's why it's here. I was expecting it to be on a work session, but it's on the regular agenda. So.
Oh. Okay. Sorry about that. I was not aware that that was where it wanted to be. So I was I think City Manager Rose, we just put it on the regular agenda as it was gone through the process with 2 council members asking for it to be done, so I apologize. Council members, open to you for discussion on the movement of this call to the public from the beginning to the end. Councilwoman Gussie.
There's 7 of us and there's 40,000 some residents. I'd rather inconvenience us than inconvenience them. So I'd rather have a call to the public at the beginning as we've been doing it.
Okay. Councilwoman Chapados.
I concur. I think it would be a disservice to have people have to wait to the end of the meeting. A lot of times the things that have come to us have been pertaining to an individual agenda item or a possible agenda item. That removes that opportunity for those people to come at the beginning of the meeting if they can't stay until we get to that particular agenda item. I also think it helps with our transparency and accountability. If they have something that's on their mind, we owe it to them to give them that opportunity to express their thoughts, concerns, or ideas. And I think the best time to do that is at the beginning of the meeting.
Other thoughts?
Well, to that end, Mr. Mayor, thanks for your comments, Councilwoman Chapados. It was never intended to prohibit people from coming to the call to the public. Obviously, the things that they have to say are super important, and we're here to hear those, but as a matter of proficiency in moving the meeting along, other municipalities do the same thing, and they put the call to the public at the end. I know for one, the city of Mesa does that, and their council meetings usually last about 30 or 40 minutes with the call to the public. So I was never intending, Vice Mayor Farrell and I were never intending on taking that right away. It would be just to move it. That was the suggestion for us to talk about. So seeing.
To that point, though, I think it's important to realize that our council meetings are not necessarily for us. It's for the public.
And it is. It's for public and doing the public's business and providing direction and making policy for the city of Maricopa.
Just as a rebut to that, Councilmember Kimball, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think the City of Mesa has their council members or council meetings during the day in the morning. Obviously, that'd be a very difficult change for us. If I'm not that that's what you're suggesting, but certainly at night, it's understandable why we do our meetings in the evening, because we all know that when you host something here in the middle of the day, you get about 3 people, and you clearly see that there's a lot more people here at night because people come back into town, as we all know that 90% of our population works in the Phoenix metro area. So, I mean, I think I concur with Councilwoman Gussie and Councilwoman Chapados that personally, I'd like to see it stay. I recently had, and this is, maybe it's just a funny timing issue, but I recently had 2 separate comments made about the city of Maricopa, and the comments that were made were about our council meetings, and they were made under the auspice of the call to the public, and that auspice was that, there is a very much a transparent, a warm, friendly, inviting ability to come here, whereas so many council meetings are stale, and we have Vice Mayor Farrell here. He's pretty exciting. That alone is reason to come. But the reality is there's that inviting feeling that people enjoy being here. And so I think that by giving that ability to give those announcements early on, and if they leave, they leave. But that's for them, and I think it's for us to stay the course. So I personally would rather see it stay, but it's up to whatever council wants to decide. So any questions? Other concerns? Thoughts? Apologize for not putting it on a work session. I did not know you wanted it there. So my apologies. With that, can I have a motion one way or the other?
Your Honor, I believe this item is just for discussion.
Oh, is it?
Discussion and direction.
Discussion and direction.
Correct.
You are correct. You are correct. All right. Well, we're gonna need direction regardless. So, not that it's a vote.
Well, I would
but
propose, Mayor, that we leave the call to the public as is.
Okay.
There's no reason to impose any constraints on the public in terms of when they appear and when not to appear. I suppose there might be some nuisance value, those who campaign at these meetings all the time, but it doesn't take up too much time. And they are entertaining.
And that's what it's all about right there.
Yes.
All right, well, it looks as though, and I don't want to speak for Vice Mayor Farrell or Councilmember Kimball, this was for discussion as they indicated, but certainly we do see at least 5 people directing that way, unless you have anything else you'd like to add, Councilmember Kimball or Vice Mayor Farrell. Nothing? Okay. All right, that's the direction on 10.12. And then finally, this takes us to item 10.13. The Mayor and City Council should discuss the possible take action to provide direction to staff regarding, number one, how to agendize the next meeting concerning the Code of Ethics complaints, and two, whether to release a redacted investigation report concerning the Code of Ethics complaints or waive the executive session privilege and release the investigation report unredacted. So, Council, there's two things to talk about here, just in brief. The first one is, and just for the public's notice and knowledge, one of the reasons we're behind today is because we basically had hearings on the potential Code of Ethics violations, and those hearings took place in e-session as allowed by law, as well as like most HR things do. And when you're dealing with other elected officials, that's the legal way to go about it, so as not to do that in a public forum if not desired by those that are participating. So the first thing that you have to decide, Council, is from this hearing, we have to decide how we would like to, or give direction that we want to agendize a statement concerning the ethics complaint at a future meeting. And then two, that we have the investigation report released to the public, and in so doing, we waive the executive privilege, but not the attorney-client privilege. And so if there's questions to that, I'll turn it back over to legal so that you might have that fully clarified should you need questions answered. But again, the hearing is agendized for a statement concerning the ethics complaint at the next meeting, and the second is an investigation report released to the public with a waiver of executive privilege, but which would, if I'm reading it right, mean that it is not being redacted. But the attorney-client privilege would remain intact.
Right, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Inside the report, in the investigation report, there's actually a couple citations to what occurred in executive session. And so one of the questions before you tonight is, do you want to waive the executive session privilege as it's set forth in the report, which means that those statements in the report would be made available for the public to see. The second issue then would be, there are some attachments that are attorney-client privileged information that would need to be redacted. So although you'd waive the executive session privilege for the report, the council would not be waiving the attorney-client privilege with regard to items that are attached to the report.
So, and just, I mean, it seems like that we should take these in reverse order then. Perhaps take the second one first, because in order to do that, should we decide to waive the executive privilege, that would take a 7-0 vote in order to waive executive session privilege.
Yes,
Correct?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, that's a good point. The privilege exists as to the whole council, but each council member, when they're in executive session, has a right to expect that session to be confidential. And so if council chooses to waive the executive session privilege, it would have to be a unanimous vote of council.
Okay. Yes, Councilwoman Gusson.
Needed some clarification.
Absolutely.
Now, Mr. Shim's investigation report, this is the same unbiased version that I saw 2 weeks ago, correct? When we're talking right now about the investigation report, and we're talking about
as written.
moving...
As written.
As written. All
As
right.
written.
Yeah, it's completely as written, but inside that report, there is a couple times where he cites to what occurred in executive session. And so it would just be removing, if council doesn't waive the executive session, we'd have to redact those portions of the report. One thing I want to say, though, the attorney-client privilege would not be waived if council just waived the executive session report. But the one thing that would be redacted from the report that you saw is on the top of the report. If you remember on the first page, it says attorney-client privilege, would take that off before it got produced.
Are you looking for a motion, Mayor?
I'm sorry, Councilwoman Gusson.
Are you looking for a motion? Because I move that we...
So let's do this in two separate motions, right? We can do two separate motions based on one agenda item. So on 10.13, let's take the second one first, again, based on the investigation report and then go ahead with the motion.
I move to release an unredacted investigation report concerning the Code of Ethics complaint.
So that, again, just for clarification, waive executive
Yes.
privilege. But
And
not
only executive
attorney.
privilege, not the attorney-client. Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on this particular issue? All right, let's do roll call.
Councilmember Frank?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gussie?
Yes.
Councilmember Kimball?
Yes.
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Farrell?
Yes.
Councilmember Chapados?
Yes.
Mayor Price?
Yes.
Motion passes.
So now that takes us to the second portion of it, which is then, based on the hearing, we would like to agendize, or give staff direction to agendize the statement at a future council meeting regarding the ethics complaint. So is there any further discussion or questions that need to be had on this before a motion is made?
The ethics complaints.
Ethics
Plural.
complaints, correct. That's correct. Ethics complaints, my apologies. Is there any other further discussion on that?
Is that your motion, Mr. Mayor?
I move to give staff direction to agendize at a future meeting.
Second.
Okay, it's been motion and second. Can we have a roll call on that, please?
What's the, Mr. Mayor, the
Yep.
motion specifically?
Sorry, the motion specifically is to give staff direction to agendize at a future meeting the statement concerning the ethics complaints.
Got it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Chapados?
Yes.
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Farrell? Councilmember Kimball?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gussie?
Yes.
Councilmember Frank?
Yes.
Mayor Price?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great. Well, that concludes our meeting for this evening. We appreciate you sticking with us. And council, I need a motion to move back to E-session, please.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We'll see you in a few weeks.